what they do is they base you off your peers. So it's not only that you have to have the right answer, but you have to have the best looking right answer, which is why we have that model, that MACE acronym, to try to help us get there. Okay. Aubrey's is the first one in my pile. I'm going to call you out specifically today just to discuss it. Aubrey has some calculations at the bottom. So he's got the C. He's got an answer and an explanation. He's clearly missing the model. In his actual explanation, I see the word exponents, but that's the only clear vocab term I see. So once I show you some of the other responses, you'll see that Aubrey not only lacks a model, but he's lacking vocab terms in his response. Obviously, let me see if I can pull out ties really fast. I'm not that good. Who is this? That's you? Okay, so I'm doing Kaylee next. Again, like Aubrey, she has great calculations. It looks like she has an answer, and let's check out her explanation, but she's also lacking a model. So I look at hers, she's got more words, more vocab terms. Volume, rectangular prism. I know this because, and she did length times width times height. She actually has a formula. I don't recall seeing that on Aubrey. Oh, I did. He had the same formula. He did have a formula, but she said I used the right values for the equation. Could she have even done a better job, good grief, with her explanation? Of course she could. Good grief. Okay, is this you, Ty?
Yes.
Okay, Ty, I'm pulling hers out because of the vocab terms she pulled in. Again, she has the same answer. She has calculations. She's lacking the formula. The past two have had a formula. She's lacking a model, but her explanation is going to be a little better than others because she threw in some vocab terms dealing with exponents. I see when you multiply bases, you add the exponent. She included an entire rule. And then, so that's what I'm really looking for. If she could have only thrown in more vocab terms like Kaylee was trying to throw in about volume, rectangular prism, that as well, she probably would have gotten, well, rectangle in a rectangle. So, I mean, is that technically... Yeah, I see that. But you see the issue here. You said rectangle. Rectangle implies 2D, and we're needing 3D. So, I know that's being way too picky, but they've got to be picky somewhere. So, next. Who is this? I thought so, Gavin. Okay, Gavin has a model. He's even labeled all the sides. He has the formula and the calculations. Now, if only his answer and his explanation, like using that mathematical vocab, will back him up, and then he would, at the moment, be the winner. It says the volume of the rectangular prism is 84. Oh my gosh, he didn't spell out because.
I thought that said lock.
No, because the volume formula is length times width times height. So you multiply the length and width, and you get. He said volume formula multiply product. He has everything I want. Let her get it together. He has everything I want in his answer, except, of course, that little tiny mistake. He was in a hurry. Except, I would like for him to have combined with Ty and still have some exponent vocab, bases. And what you do when you multiply the bases, you add the exponents. I get he used that rule. I just wish he had referenced that rule specifically. But at the moment, his is clearly has all the pieces we're looking for. Okay, and then I don't know who you are. Okay, Allison. Allison said, length with height, find the volume. I know the volume of this rectangular prism is this because she used my go-to phrase. I know this because you multiply length, width, and height. When multiplying numbers with exponents, you add the exponents. So she didn't put bases, she put numbers. I wish I could change that vocab term if we're being super picky. And then Allison said she was already in. It's true. You absolutely have to tell them how you're adding, like 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. No. Does it hurt? Not at all. Can you use extra words? Of course. The only issue is that Allison, again, is taking a time test. So we keep talking about the Aspire, but this is how it really goes. Katie has so long to not only do the multiplication questions, But during that time, she has to get, I think 5 justification questions done too. So Allison can't write her normal book. She doesn't have all day to write her normal book and still get all those multiple choice problems done. So she's going to have to let go of the last 2 sentences because they can follow her math above. She showed her work. They can follow her math. And then Allison lacks the model. So she has the answer. She has a pretty decent explanation, that's for sure. She has some calculations, but she lacks the model. Okay, Josh. That's that, Josh. I know his handwriting. To find the volume of a prism, you multiply length times width times height. So he explained the volume formula with words. So in this equation, you would add all the exponents together. I wish he'd thrown in bases, yeah. Oh, multiply the bases. Oh, he did. He threw in bases. So he has really good words. His answer's good. His explanation's good. He has the math, but again, he lacks a model. I know this seems silly, but show me your picture. Show me what they had. No, show me that. They gave you stuff, but what makes Gavin special is not only did he draw what they drew, but he added in the numbers they discussed on the appropriate parts. That's what's making Gavin stand out right now. And I guess really that would be Gavin's goal, to have an answer that stands out. So, is this you? No.
That's me.
That's you. Okay. She actually has the model, but since she doesn't put the 7x squared, since she doesn't actually label the actual figure, is her model doing her any good? Probably not. Not as nice as this when he actually has it on the appropriate lengths, like the length, the width, the height. So that would be my suggestion for her with her model. Her calculations are correct. The volume of this rectangular prism is, I know this because to find the volume, you would add the exponents. I wish she had thrown in the word bases, but otherwise her answer and explanation is definitely pretty decent. Again, me and Allison are word people. I like to fill up all the slots on the page. She wrote 2 sentences and still explained all that had to go on in the problem. So you can be concise like Natalia and still get everything in. But I'm like Allison, I'm wordy. It's good. It's concise. It has the entire point across. If only you'd thrown in bases, then I'd have been sold. I took Rex's a little too soon because he wasn't quite done. So I can't pick on his model, he was working on it, or his answer or explanation, but I can pick on his calculations because I really like the fact that so everyone lists out the formula, but I love how he directly fills it in directly underneath. You can tell that this is the length, this is the width, this is the height. His is the easiest one to read to me. I know that's being silly, but again, someone's reading this and judging you, and make it easier for them to read and follow your work. For instance, I'm picking on, Gavin doesn't matter, I'm picking on him. He has the formula, but since he did his drawing in between the formula and the work, do we really know that he understands that goes with length, that goes with width, that goes with height? I don't know. It is debatable. Who is this? Okay, I'm picking on, good grief, Emily. Why do I always try to name you Tiffany? I don't know. It's like, did you ever read? No, probably not. Lord of the Flies. And there was Sam and Eric, and eventually they became Sam and Eric. One person. What's wrong? Don't look at her words. Don't look at her math. I'm mad at her for one thing and one thing only, and she wasn't done, so I'm really not mad at her. I'm just fake mad. What am I mad at with hers? It's a 2D, so is it actually a prism? No, so just the rectangle's not going to work. I would rather her not draw anything than not draw the actual model. But again, she was mid-sentence when I took this from her, so maybe she was intending to go back and fix that.
This is Josh.
Oh, yeah. Now that Josh is on the correct bell ringer for the week, I like what he did. It's very similar to Rex in that he shows you width is this, length is this, height is this. So when I plug it in, length, width, height. But the only issue is I thought, we're all creatures of habit, length, width, height. He does say height in 3x, but he says width is 4x, and he labeled that as L. So he's really doing WLH. Now, is that being way too picky? Yes, I get that. But again, you saw my stack of great answers. So be very careful when you do this. Although I like that idea. That's a good idea. The volume, variables, multiply the bases, add the exponents. I wish he had thrown in length, width, height, but clearly he knew what they were because he labeled them here. If only he had drawn an actual model, he would be terrific. Who is this? That's you. Good. Okay, got a model. Not only is her model labeled, but like length 4x squared, width 7x cubed, height 3x. So she's taken Josh and Gavin and combined it, done both at once. She showed her work. She's got the calculations. And then she said, I made the equation, I multiplied, after that I multiplied, and I added the exponents, and then I multiplied, and I got the volume. Okay, her model and her calculations, superb. Now, her answer is not bad. She has the correct answer, we agree. Did she need to explain how she multiplied and stuff? No. That was her chance to show off with her explanation that she knows words like bases, exponents, volume is length, width, height. Clearly she knows these words. Clearly she has, like, otherwise she would, if we had a winner, she would be the winner. Because her calculations and definitely her model is best. But because she's not using that enriched vocab in her explanation, she would not be the winner. And if we had to deem a winner, it would probably be Gavin at the moment. It would probably have been Gavin for today. Again, so we're saying all this not to pick on anybody, but to say on the next test, make sure you've done all those things. If sometimes I get an algebra class and you're not geometry, there's not a model. But this specific question, there was definitely a model that needed to be drawn. So if you're supposed to make a model, make a model. If you're supposed to show some calculations, show some calculations. Now, Allison does not have to write me another book, but Allison always